Welcome back to JB Reviews. I'm sitting inside of a Ford Lightning. Now, if you live under a rock, this is Ford's all-electric half-ton pickup. This does have dual motors, and it literally can run fully on electric. No more combustion engines. And that's kind of why I hate electric cars. And I use that word very strongly. I don't necessarily hate them. I hate the conversations I have with people who love them so much, because they act like this is the future, as if these have been out long enough to be truly tested against the tried and true combustion engine. And don't get me wrong, I expect people to be excited about electric vehicles because look at the range these things now have. I remember when plugged-in hybrids could get 20 miles on full electric, and that was huge when that was out. And as you can see, I'm plugged in, right? I've been plugged in for like 15 or 20 minutes. I started off at 47% at 70 miles. And look where I'm at now. And by the way, it's saying I'll be done at 6:48 p.m. It's 12:56. So if you ask me, I think that electric cars are not quite there. And even if this is a supercharger, you probably could get this done from maybe 10% or in that ballpark within an hour. So I don't understand why people think that this is truly the way, because if you're traveling cross country, you have to factor in another 45 minutes to an hour to charge your stinking car. Okay, now I'm off my soapbox. Let's go ahead and unplug this because I'm not going to be here till 6 o'clock. I'm sorry. But check that out. Super easy to plug it in. And all you have to do is just click this and it pops open for you. But yeah, it's loud out here. I am at Larry H. Miller here in Salt Lake City. This is a super Ford location. Be sure to ask for Will, the Navy guy. I believe that's what he said his name was. He actually has a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll link it here too. But let's go ahead and take this bad boy in a more quiet atmosphere because it is really loud over here. One thing I will say, these brakes are super touchy. Super touchy. So you're gonna have to really get used to that. And I'm just not used to driving a pickup truck with no noise. Like, you normally feel a rumble of a V8, and in the case of Ford, a twin turbo V6, but it is kind of odd not hearing an engine or something like that. And I will say the performance from this thing, it does put a smile on your face. You can't deny electric motors. That 100% torque, holy smokes. It's like, it's neck breaking. Let me put my seatbelt on, hold on. And the general manager, he actually has a Ford Lightning too, so it's kind of cool to see the people that work at these places actually drive the cars that they sell. But I think this is a good spot over here. Actually, let's go a little bit further over. It is really easy to maneuver this around the parking lot, but man, it is like, the brakes are so touchy, guys. Like, that's the only thing I think would make these hard to live with day to day. This would be a good area right here. All right, I'm gonna park it and let's take a look on the outside. So unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties with my audio because my phone was malfunctioning, but let's go ahead and just go through this. We'll commentate. So you see this has LED headlights, full LED headlights. Check out this grille too. Whenever you see EV, they always have the grille blocked off, and that's just going to help with aerodynamics. And on this Ford here, you can see it has an open grille for that combustion engine. Tow hooks down below, and there is a small area down below probably for cooling too. Really nice hood overall, and this is basically a frunk. So that's one cool thing I will say is having this over having an engine is really nice because you get more storage, and this basically gives you a trunk that a truck never has. And the floor height is pretty good too, so if you're not that strong, you're lifting something in, you don't have to lift it so high. I do like the fact that they do give you some storage down below here, and on the side you do have some plugs that do come in handy. So if you do need to work out of your truck, you have this to, use some of your power tools. This is where you're gonna fill the washer fluid at, and this is where you're gonna jump it at too. Something I'm gonna probably mention at some point, this is gonna be the pro grade, so this is gonna be the base model Lightning. And sadly, again, I'm sure most of you know, Ford did raise the prices on this pickup. So
that's something that I kind of am a little upset about. It seems like these electric cars have just been really popular, so a lot of the manufacturers and dealers have been taking advantage of the price points for them too. But let's go ahead and walk around the side. Now this is going to have an 18-inch wheel, and you saw earlier that that's where you're going to plug that off on the side of the fender. And here's the tire size, 275, 65, 18. And these are Michelin tires too, so they're probably a low rolling resistance, and you're gonna have an independent front suspension. Out back is gonna be the same. Now you can't really see the motors on this truck, but you do have a better view of that independent front suspension. This is gonna be the standard range since this is the Pro, so it's gonna have 462 horsepower, 775 pound-feet of torque. And as I mentioned, this has 2 inboard motors on each axle. Now, if you look out back, you can really tell that there's something different about the Ford that you're seeing here in terms of the F-150. Normally you see leaf springs back here, but as I mentioned, this has independent rear suspension, no leaf springs, it has coils. And if you were to get the level up from this one, it would be known as the extended range. It's gonna have 580 horsepower, 775 pound-feet of torque. Now this truck has a base curb weight somewhere in the range of 6,000 pounds. As I always do on my channel, I will show you guys the payload, but you can see that really cool lightning badge. And check out these taillights. They definitely have a futuristic look, and they do go well with the overall design. And they're gonna be full LED. Parking sensors out back, and this one does have that Class 4 receiving hitch too. Now as far as the tailgate goes, this was not assisted. They do provide a backup camera on the back, and as you'll see here, there's no spray and bed liner, which is available. And here's the other plug for the truck. This truck has an inverter, obviously, and that's how you're able to use that system there. Something to consider, if you do plan on towing, you really do want to opt yours to have the max tow package, because that will allow you to tow up to 7,700 pounds. If you do not have the max tow, I believe the towing goes down to 5,000 pounds. So that's something to consider. Now, if you do move up to like an XLT with the max tow, it will give you up to 10,000 pounds of towing capacity.
One thing worth mentioning, it is pretty cold outside. It's 39 degrees. Electric cars do take less time to heat up. Like I've just been sitting in a parking lot. If this was a combustion engine, that is something that you have to take more time to wait for to get the truck heated up. So I do like the fact that this gets there a lot quicker. So this is going to be the 2022 F-150 for Lightning. And then here's all the standard equipment. So if you don't know, this is the standard range. So this is going to have 462 horsepower and 775 pound-feet of torque. So the horsepower does change if you go to the extended range, but the torque does stay the same for both. And this doesn't have a lot of options on it, but you guys can see here it does have an 8,250 pound GVWR package. And I might have said this had 5,500 pounds of towing capacity. It's going to be 5,000 pounds. So just keep that in mind. But this thing is not that expensive, although it doesn't have a lot of options on it. It's only $41,669. That's not bad at all. And you guys have already seen these numbers here on the side. But inside the interior, even though this is a work truck, and you can really tell that by the seats because it has the vinyl seating, but the interior is really, really nice. Like, check out your gauge clusters, a full screen, and you have a large screen off to the side here too. And dual climate control. So USBs down below. You can store away the shifter. However, this does not have the center console that flips out and makes like basically a desk. But these screens are really big. This is a 12-inch, and they say that this is a 12-inch too. This seems a lot bigger though for some reason, because they say this is a 12-inch productivity, and then this is a Sync 4 with a 12-inch display. Backup camera out back. I do like that they give you full screen for that. That's something that Ram does not do because theirs is basically vertical. But really clear, and as you would expect, traction control. And overall, I do think that this cab is a huge improvement over previous cabs. Like, I feel like I have a lot of space in here. My seat is not, actually my seat is all the way back. I did put it all the way back, but I still feel like I have like a lot of space inside of here. You do have a telescoping steering wheel, and if you step out, you can see that this is a manual operated seat, which is fine.
and LED lights in the interior. And then just check out the overall design for the back too. You have your air vents, plenty of power outlets in here too. And this is a flat floor surface. And oh wow, if you have a large dog, they can get really comfortable back in the rear. Now let's take a look at some of these screens, because I'm sure there's some information here for this in particular. So we'll start off in this one. So currently we are in the calm screen, and you get there by clicking menu, go to my view, and you have your calm screen. Up next is your trip 1. And then it shows you your current trip that you're doing. So it probably resets every time we turn it off. And then you have your tire pressure, seat belts, pitch and roll if you're going off-road, power distribution for the front and rear axles. And then you just have a way to set this up however you like. So one thing I would tell you is if you click menu again, you do have a menu for towing. Also for navigation. Let's click navigation really quickly. My home. Actually, I was wondering if it would show you the navigation on the main screen, which it probably does if you put in an address. So I like that this is super simple to really set up. That it shows you your range. It shows you a few other things too. And off to the side, you have an even larger screen layout. So you have your audio, phone, navigation, and they do provide a split screen, so to speak. So you do have your audio and navigation. So if you are traveling, actually you have to hit the arrows. So you have your phone, then you have your trip that you saw on here, off-road, and then your Pro Power on board. So you have to have it on in order to use this, so just keep that in mind. And let's keep going. Towing, they have it actually over here. So you almost don't need this screen, but it's good to have this one if you want to have different things on both screens. But if you want to add a trailer, manage your trailers, you can do that. Trailer sway control, those things can be turned on and off. And then you go back. And so this takes you to the features tab over here. And here's everything that you can see inside of here. 8% climate use, I like that they do that. 4% accessory, so it does keep tabs on everything that you're doing inside of here too. And then settings, you can set up and configure this however you like. Let's just go to general. Here's a few things that you can see. First thing I would do, turn that off. I cannot stand hearing beep noises. Change the brightness, the mode, if you want to do night shift, day shift, or auto. That is kind of bright, so I understand how someone might want to have it on night all the time. But let's take a look at your storage here off to the side. I always want to go for the, like what looks to be a handle here, but the button's right there to open the top, and then your glove box is down below. Tons of power, and as I mentioned, you had those 2 USBs. You have a Type C and a Type A down below. And decent storage here in the center too. This does pop out to give you more storage. Cup holders, so there's like basically 4 cup holders, and then you have storage in the side doors here too. Up top, sunglass holder, LED lights as I mentioned everywhere. Now they do not give you lights for your vanity, but they do give you the mirror on both sides. And this dash is soft touch, but most of this door is just hard, and then hard vinyl right here. And then here's some of the controls. You are gonna have auto up and down for the 2 front windows, but the rear, you have to hold going down and up. So let's take a look at the numbers on the door. So this does have a gross axle weight rating up front at 3,770 pounds. The rear is going to be 4,900 pounds. And this has a gross fuel weight rating of 8,250 pounds that you saw on the window sticker. And all in, you're going to have a total payload of 2,000 231 pounds, which is insane. Like, that's a big payload number for a 1/2 ton truck, and you have more than enough payload for the amount of trailer that you are allowed to tow with this, because like I said, it can only tow like around 5,000 pounds. So with that being said, still a great option if you are still traveling locally for something like this. I don't recommend these for cross country and like that, because like I said earlier, every time you have to stop to charge, it's going to take you about an hour, and that would suck. But be sure to give Larry H. Miller a look up if you are in the market out in Salt Lake. This is a Super 4 store. Let them know you saw the video, and be sure to ask for the Navy guy. See you guys in the next video.